Hey, what's up, y'all? I got another story time. I'm outside, so yeah, I got my mask. Out here, you know, little greenery. You know what I mean? But my story time. Well, it ain't. Yeah, story time. It's about family, but at the same time, it's about the effects a family member doing drugs has on another person. All right, so I know in the last couple videos where I was talking about my mom, I was talking about my dad. If you ain't watch them, pause this one, go to that one, you know, listen to it a little bit. Um, but the effects of somebody else doing drugs, how it affects you or whatever. In the other videos or whatever, I was talking about how I kept mentioning like my uncles and stuff like that, and like, oh yeah, and another story like I'll tell y'all whatever. Um, they fall in that category, and I know some people gonna be like, oh well, that's not your story to tell. It is if it affects me. It is now. If I can get somebody who actually does drugs. I mean, when I was a teenager, what did I do? The worst thing that I did was smoke weed and drank alcohol. I mean, um, but as far as like hardcore drugs, nah, like, I mean, meth and, well, coke and all that. I was about to make a joke, but this ain't the time for it. Um, coke and heroin and you mean sipping syrup and all that other stuff. I know I never did none of that. Never tried it. Never want to try it or whatever like that. And that's because of I grew up and I seen what stuff like that does to a person. Um, yeah, my glasses are transitional, so that's why I'm sitting like kind of like in the shade. But what it does to a person, so I kind of like learned from that. Um, so I don't know how it on. I don't know about the other side of it, but um, growing up, I knew who my mother's siblings were. I mean, she had three brothers or whatever. One of them passed away, and I will talk about that in another. I was about to say podcast. I have a podcast, and at another time, I will talk about that. Um, my podcast is what is it? Transparent introvert. Um, I would talk about that. I'm kind of like people walking past, so it's kind of something new for me. I don't do outside. Um, but but yeah. So growing up, I knew who my mother's siblings were. She had three brothers. One of them died, and two of them are left. But I can say for two of them, all of my life, they have been struggling with drug addiction, whether they want to admit it or not. They have, and because of that, that caused them to, and I don't know if it's just the drugs or whatever the case may be. It when you're on drugs or whatever, from the viewpoint of family and friends and everything like that, like that person is not themselves. You are blessed when you get to see that moment when they are sober, you know. And I've seen the moments where they have been sober and they have been the nicest people ever, and like they're always around, they call and they check in and everything like that. I'm not gonna say all the time, but they're calling and they're checking um whenever they feel the need, call and check and be like, I mean, niece, what's up, or actually see their face. But I see their face like every couple years. And the crazy part about it is that when I first come in contact with them, I got to deal with I'm going to say the drug addict person first. I got to deal with that person first. The person that got their hand out. Like, oh, I need. Or the person that is just trying to talk their way into whatever favor it is that they want. Or they're talking crazy or whatever like that. Or their behavior is off the roof or whatever the case may be. And you as the family member, me as the niece, I have to try, like grit my teeth and try to be there. You mean even with all of the the verbal, I mean, abuse that they might not think is abuse or whatever like that, I have to deal with that. I have to grit my teeth and be like, yo, at the end of the day, you are family. I can't let you abuse me, but I have to help you because, if you know drug addicts, they kind of burn their bridges. So it's up to family to kind of like be like, all right, you don't have nothing left. You don't have nothing left. You don't have nobody or whatever the case may be. So I've always had to be that that shoulder or whatever. Or sometimes I felt like that personal ATM, and then it's like once you like once. I'm sorry that I'm using y'all as a mirror, but anyway, once you once I hand off that money, then I'm like, yeah, so I shouldn't have did that because might not be using it for a good purpose or whatever the case may be. So I have to pray and be like, yo, God would like help me be strong or whatever for them because I don't want to lose them. A lot of people are like, oh yeah, like yo, cut them off, cut them off, cut them off. Don't be a crutch, don't be a crutch. But when you grow up and you don't have anybody, I mean, like yes, I do for my extended family that's watching. I have y'all, but it's nothing like your what is that called, your immediate family, your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, sisters, brothers, nieces, nephews, first cousins, or whatever the case may be, aunts, uncles. It's nothing like that in this world. Like yo, you need that. So for that drug addict to be somebody that is that close, I grew up without a father, so the next person that's supposed to step in is who? Your uncles, right? So if I just cut you off or whatever, then what? Is this gonna be it? Am I going to like, yo, am I gonna see you again? And if I cut you off, like, and you don't have nobody, then like, yo, then what? Am I gonna see your face again? I remember I told my uncle not too long ago. He was locked up, and of course locked up for, I mean, getting caught up in drugs and whatever else he did to get locked up or whatever like that, because with drugs comes some type of criminal activity or whatever like that. But he's out or whatever. And I met up with him or whatever, and I remember telling him, and because this is how bad I wanted him to understand how it is that I felt, and while I was talking to him, I was so angry or whatever, but at the same time I wanted to show him so much love and compassion and be like, yo, I'm here for you. I his old landlord or whatever called me and was like, oh yeah, like yo, when you see your uncle or whatever like that, tell him that I'm looking for him. I have his 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 security deposit. I have his security deposit. So that was left on my voicemail because I was at work at the time. So when I finally saw my uncle, like when I got that, let me retract. When I got that message, when I listened to the message or whatever, I didn't call the lady because at that moment I didn't know where my uncle was at. I ain't seen him in in like a year, so I ain't know where he was at. So it was no need for me to call the lady back. I'm like, all right, well, at some point she'll find them. If she don't find them, I don't know what they do with money that somebody don't claim. I don't know, but I couldn't. I'm not going to claim it, and I couldn't claim it because it's not mine to claim. I'm not that type of person. I'm not that type of person. I believe in karma. I believe in God. So I don't do grimy stuff or whatever the case may be. I didn't know where he was at, so there's no point in me claiming the check or whatever. So then out of nowhere, he pops up. He calls me. Well, he didn't call me. He texted me or whatever like that, and we conversed through text message and everything like that. But I met up with him. And when I met up with him, I told him that that moment that I got that message, my heart dropped. And my heart dropped because I thought he was dead somewhere. And I thought he was dead somewhere. And the simple fact of the matter is like, yo, you out here wilding out and doing whatever or whatever the case may be. My thought was like, yo, you was dead somewhere and your body got thrown in Potter's Field somewhere because nobody was there to claim it or whatever. Like, yo, do you know the impact? Because I know what type of life that you live. I thought that you was dead. I told him that, and the look on his face was crazy. And I felt like I had to tell him that because I wanted him to know, like, yo, the effects of you doing what it is that you are out there doing affects other people. I didn't know what to do, and I still don't know where my other uncle is. I don't know if he's in jail somewhere. I don't know if he's out there, doing his thing, whatever it is that he does or whatever the case may be. He has a bunch of kids. And I feel like it just is a whole lot. Like I feel like, when you on the other side and you are the family member that has to deal with the person that's on drugs, you looking at them like, yo, especially when they have kids. You have kids out here that you have to be responsible for, and you're not being responsible. You're not being a good example. Whatever it is that you're going through in life that is causing you to do drugs or however you started or whatever your reasoning is for doing drugs, like, yo, you are not your authentic self. Like, come on, the people around you, your family, deserve to see the authentic you. They deserve to see the authentic you. Now, if my uncles and them were clean, would I see them as much? I don't know. I don't know. Do I give them positive affirmation? My one uncle that kind of like makes an effort. Yeah, I tell him all the time. Like, even when he do mess up, I tell him all the time, like, yo, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. Like, yo, I'm proud that every day you're trying to become a better person. Even when he falls and he's ashamed to come back or whatever, to say that he fell. I try my hardest, no matter how tired I am of this revolving door or whatever. I try to tell him like, yo, I'm proud of you, because I feel like if you give positivity, maybe that'll be the turn, because obviously they both got kids. That's maybe that's, I don't know if that's enough. I don't know, but just know, to whoever's watching this video and looking at the pretty scenery, whoever's watching this video and you are dealing with somebody who is a drug addict, I'm not in no way, shape, or form saying to be a crutch. I'm not saying that. And I'm no way saying that you should in turn be hurt because of the actions of somebody else. What I am saying is that you will get that moment where they are sober and they are their real self. You're not alone out here, because there's plenty of people out here who are dealing with, who have family members or friends or whatever. Or you just might be passing a drug addict on the street or whatever like that. Don't look down on them, because that could be you. And then two, they got family somewhere. Now, did they burn their bridges? Who knows? But just know that, like, yo, for the person that's watching, that is like the family member or a friend or whatever like that of a drug addict or whatever like that, they will not be sober until they have hit their rock bottom. Not what you call rock bottom, but hit their rock bottom. That's when they will become sober. But sometimes what help you to hold on is holding on to those sober moments, the sober moments that you have witnessed at some point or whatever. And for the drug addict who may be watching and you having a sober moment or whatever, you are hurting people. You're hurting people and you're hurting yourself. Like, yo, you taking years off of your life. You taking years off of your life. I mean, God wants you to live life abundantly. And abundantly doesn't mean that everything is going to be rainbows and unicorns. Abundantly means that, like, yo, you are going to find inner peace. He is going to be your inner peace. He's going to be your inner peace. You just got to let him. Your body is a temple. And he can't dwell in something that is, dirty. He can't. Plain and simple, I'm a Christian. If you don't like it, I'm sorry. That's what I believe. I'm not going to force it on you, but this is what it is that I believe. But to the drug addict, you are hurting not only yourself, you hurting other people. And the same trauma and everything like that you're going through or you've been through or whatever the case may be, or whatever is making you do drugs or whatever. It's people out there that they feeling the same way and they sober. So imagine what it is that they go through every day. My life hasn't been unicorns and rainbows. And it's a lot of things that my family don't know that has happened and transpired from the time of being in foster care to now at 33 years old. Yeah, I made it to 33, my Jesus year. That has happened that I haven't talked about or whatever like that. But drugs is not the answer. Just wanted to put this out there. Thank you for watching.